conquering depths of the Abyssal Lords were nothing compared to this final defeat. The last moments of Deskari and Baphomet to shake the world around you. The surge of power causes the ground to quake, and the chasm leading to the Abyssal Realms creaks and groans.
It is done. The road to greatness lies ahead. All that remains is for you to use a crystal.
Areelu doesn't look particularly surprised. She seems focused on the task at hand. Ah, we got 2 more. Nice. The spell erupts from Areelu's fingers, rushing to the drop of the Demon Lord's spilled blood. The frozen crystal teleports into your hands. It's interesting, she's seeing us really as her son. Also nothing trying to betray us or anything. Interesting. I authorized some studies to be conducted on the Nehneon crystals. The research showed that newly created Nehneon crystals can interact with one another. If you have 5 of them, you can merge them together into one immensely powerful crystal. What do you think would happen if I used a crystal like that? Only thing, which is a little bit sad, is we did all those research things. We never got like anything from it. It was always like, okay, you did it. And just now we're getting like the information. But still amazing.
I can only guess. The regular crystals allowed you to impart some of your power to your followers, those whose souls were closely tied to yours. It is likely that an improved crystal would let you endow your companions with a small amount of the demigod-like power you are about to receive.
And we have 6 crystals. We have the Blade, Ereshkigal, Baphomet and Deskari, and now Baphomet and Deskari again. So we can share them with our companions and give her the last one. Do we want an immortal Areelu Vorlesh? It seems like we can do either us alone or all of us. You can't say all of us excluding Areelu. Do you think we might be able to redeem her? With us as her son? Logan has already tried to redeem demons, so let's go for it, let's try it. I've managed to acquire 6 crystals. I will share them with my companions and give the last one to you, Areelu. All of us will venture into eternity together.
Ascend together? And live without fear of gods or demons, exploring the infinite world. You truly want this. I can't believe it.
Oh, it's kinda cute. And it would be so cool if you could actually redeem her. I see astonishment in Areelu's eyes. Maybe the new patch fixed it. You're supposed to get text. Ah, with research, that would be cool. Save Mummy Areelu. Trying.
But I will grant you your wish.
A wave of her hand, Areelu makes a string of Nehneon crystals levitate before her. Another gesture. Several of them burst into swirling whirlwinds of pure power. Their essences merge into a single vortex that flows toward you, into you, infusing you with power. Nice, and we're not only closing the world wound, we're becoming half deities, half gods or something? Just a moment, you feel as though you're something more than what you are. You're no longer a single person. You're the rift between the worlds. You are the order of the material plane and the chaos of the abyss. You are the beginning and the end of a century-long tangle of destinies and great deeds. You are power. You are more than just power. What an amazing ending so far. What about Storyteller? I don't know. Is that red? It is not. Life and death, destiny and great deeds, answers to mysteries, the search for one's true path. The mind can comprehend all of those, and then such concepts can be written down. as a sequence of formulas, a series of lines, a chain of thought. Still, a moment always comes when it is time to wrap up, to reach a conclusion, to put a period at the end of the last sentence. On the day of the great battle at Threshold Fortress, a new name joined the divine pantheon of Golarion. We are part of the pantheon? We are demigod. Insane. Contrary to the laws of creation and the limitations imposed upon mortal kind, the individual, once known as the commander of the Fifth Crusade, attained greatness, power, and immortality. This new power was likewise assumed by both the commander's loyal companions and the writer of these words. We all received might comparable to that of the heralds of demigods. Like a star in the gloom and the darkness of the abyss, an island of life, good and freedom sparked into being as the former realms of Baphomet and Deskari became the commander's realm. The commander's story became legend, one that was spread far and wide in the songs of bards. The tale fell upon the ears of many, those eager to convert to the new faith, and those who nursed ambitions of replicating the commander's achievement. It is no exaggeration, then, to declare that the commander's ascension on that day changed the world forevermore. The wind of Elysium became a harbinger of renewal for the lands of the former wound. The corruption-torn wastes became lush once more, and where lava lakes once steamed, there grew groves of towering trees. Some of the vegetation seemed to have come straight from a dream. This rejuvenated land became a beautiful garden, an inspiration for dreamers. Lovers and poets would go there to watch the moon rise with the sparkling waterfalls, or to catch the reflections of the stars in the streams. Why dreams? Future sessions allow both you and the Free Crusaders to follow the path of goodness and freedom. Nice, especially as a follower of Desna. The Free Crusaders did not stay together too long. The main goal has been achieved, but there were still plenty of places left in the world where injustice was rampant, where courage and imagination were needed. Scaranthal and his treants had their branches full, there to take care of the new, rapidly growing forest. Scaranthal, during his time as a Free Crusader, came to understand and even love city customs in his own way. He often dropped by Dresden and even officially adopted all the teenagers from the commander's court. Aww. And he cared for them just as selflessly as if they were his own trees. The fate of the Mimic Crusaders was most astonishing of all. They formed their own knightly order, then changed their mind and decided to become pirates, then settled on being pirate knight acrobats. They sailed the seas on a massive ship, quite possibly another Mimic, singing shanties, juggling cutlasses, saving beautiful damsels, and, on rare occasions, boarding someone they didn't like. The Mimic Crusaders were, like, probably my favorite Free Crusaders. Oh, but it's sad it's over. Ivu would visit her large family in Elysium, but nothing could make her part with her best friend for long. "I go where you go," was her motto. Much later, all grown up, Ivu went off on her own adventures. She traveled the plains, bravely helping good souls in distress, and, of course, seeking out places where they baked the best cookies. I love that kind of ending, that you get so much for every character. I mean, at least so far, let's see what's going on, but so far, I really like that. But the leader of the Crusaders, the commander, won their loyalty and obedience. Even in the Crusade's darkest hours, the commander found ways to restore the army's supply lines. Tax rich. His military acumen was beyond question. Under his leadership, the divided, poorly trained Crusader forces were reforged into an invincible army. Due to the success of the commander's diplomatic strategy, by the end of the war, Mendev's true political center was Dresden, not Nerosian. After gaining the support of foreign rulers and finding allies in the capital, Dresden became the shining example of the new Mendev, one that was nurtured by the commander's ideas. Wow. The significance and accomplishments of the Crusade were great, that even a century after the end of the war, Dresden retained its prominence on the map of Avestan. The commander's diplomatic, military, and administrative talent turned the fortress into a key political player. Queen Gelfrey returned to Nerosian with the intent to rule Mendef as before, but as it turned out, Endevian society was hungry for change. Yes! The war-ravaged nation desired new leadership. The Queen would not countenance yielding her authority to anyone else. She believed her duty to her homeland had not yet been fulfilled. Gotta say, would have thought it would have been nicer to have someone else. Oh well. I also love that it's like, okay, the country demanded for a new leader, and the Queen was like, no. Upon his return to Kenabres, Ramian did all he could to heal the wounds left by the war. The city saw an influx of pilgrims who wanted to be close to the glory of the Crusaders. Alas, those pilgrims were followed by spies, criminals, and cultists. The Eagle Watch was barely able to keep up with the cloak and dagger war that broke out in the city's underground. The wall stones from the chain that once guarded the borders of Mendef were carefully disassembled, one by one. The angels that had been trapped inside returned to heaven, to heal their wounded spirits and prepare for new battles against evil. It's cool that means the Queen... Oh no, it was us, because we survived, I think. The Lady in Shadow found a way to benefit from the situation. By magnanimously accepting the warriors from the destroyed armies of Baphomet and Deskari, she significantly bolstered the might of the Midnight Isles. You realize that the commander had effectively foiled Nocticular's plans with his decision to keep the passage between the Abyss and Golarion open. The Lady in Shadow began preparing her defenses in secret. She knew that sooner or later invaders would appear in her realm, and it mattered not whether there would be demons or mortals. Nothing about the Redeemer Queen. Baphomet was too cunning for his own good and died his final death. Rumor says that, upon hearing of Baphomet's demise, Asmodeus permitted himself a satisfied chuckle that shook the halls of hell. The demon lord Deskari died his final death, and his cult perished with him. His followers and demonic minions entered the service of Deskari's sire, Pazuzu. Whether Pazuzu's terrifying rage stemmed from his offspring's demise or from his failure, no one can tell. The commander's escapades in Lushinira left a lasting impression on its denizens. When the sect lacked management, Battle Bliss gradually fell into decline. Audiences had grown bored of ordinary gladiator fights. The Neighboring League closed due to a lack of members. Realizing that his talents as an arena steward would never be appreciated in the Abyss, Zeklik sold the Battle Bliss and used the proceeds to relocate to Hell, where he finally found himself at home. Which is funny, because when meeting him, we already talked about him being more fitting to Hells than the Abyss. So much. The flesh markets had been ravaged. It proved impossible to completely destroy them. After the commander left Lushinira, new slavers took over the stalls, and new shipment of slaves were chained to the platforms. Restov, the envoy of the Pathfinder Society, took advantage of the situation and rose to the top of the slave trade. He sold demons to other demons and used the proceeds to buy the freedom of mortal slaves. He soon founded the first Pathfinder Lodge in the Abyss. Despite numerous attempts to cut down, uproot, or burn the tree growing on the side of the ravaged flesh markets, nothing worked. It continues to grow at the heart of the Lushinira, his roots going deep into the island. Some demons worried that one day the roots would grow through Ishia to the Maelstrom and sunder the plane of the Abyss. The unrelenting killer and vigilant, known as Red Mask, continued a purge of Lushinira and assembled a full squad of Azimar assassins. Demons enjoyed listening to stories for their bloody exploits, and that is, until the assassins came to collect their heads. Nice. They are doing good. That's cool. The place where the commander's camp had once stood became a symbol of freedom for runaway slaves in the Abyss. They flocked to the Nexus by the hundreds and erected a rear fortress which held out against several assaults by the slavers. Cool. I think we really changed Lushinira for the better. They've returned to Pelura's Fall. The rushing river, awakened by the commander's power, washed over the wasteland and swept away the burial grounds surrounding the temple. When the water had ebbed, pilgrims began to arrive at the temple, wishing both to worship Pelura and honor the memory of the fallen defenders who'd held the line in obscurity for over a century. The lake by the temple gate always held the reflection of a starry sky, even in daylight. And at night, if anyone were to stand on the shore, they would hear an enchanting melody and distant, bewitched singing. Kenabres was true to her word. The Winter Sun clan left the lands of their ancestors. When they had left the borders of the former Socorus, the clan split into several branches. One went to the Whitelands of Numeria, others set off for free Berezia. A small group led by Kenabres chose to travel to Endoran, where they were lost among the many refugees fleeing other lands and other wars. The Winter Sun clan ceased to be. But yeah, sounds like the good thing to leave behind all the demonic madness. The Tyrobates. The Tyrobates were adamant about retiring from military service, leaving it all behind and escaping together. But urgent Eaglewatch business forced them to stay for a week, then for a month, then for many years. Even as Anivia cursed their lot, however, her eyes would shine with pride, for she was always the first to admit that Areelu was not the kind of person who could just up and retire. He influenced that. Because we helped her resolve her inner turmoil. Several hundred years after the conclusion of the Fifth Crusade, somewhere on another plane, far from both the Abyss and Golarion, two runaway Lilitus met, Menago and Shivaro. They met, never to part again. Aww. The hand of the narrator, who had gone into voluntary exile, spent much time among mortals, trying to gain a better understanding of their fickle nature. Somewhere on the roads of Golarion, the Angel's Trail went cold. Rumor has it that he intentionally went into hiding to avoid both old friends and surviving enemies, and that he now lives somewhere in the guise of a callow mortal youth eager to absorb other people's wisdom. Nice. The commander's decision to destroy the Numerian device that he had captured in the Blackwater clan encampment had dire consequences. I definitely don't regret that. Free of the mechanism that inhibited and controlled it, the mysterious core of the device soon awakened and vanished in a flash of magical energy. Didn't we destroy it? Within weeks, Numerian hunters began to tell tales of a strange construct that had encountered in the mountains. It was the skeleton of a machine of some sort, alien and incomprehensible, that had been built by people with hollow eyes. Oh great, is it just doing the same thing again? Ugh. For a time, the whereabouts of Nura Dendiwa were completely unknown, but then the River Kingdoms saw the publication of a shocking book, To the Abyss and Back, a crusade through the eyes of a former cultist. The book was banned in several countries, and a bounty was placed on Nura's head, but the elusive writer always escaped the clutches of the Inquisitors. She was cool, especially that she helped us at Pelura's fall, despite being a traitor in the beginning. Storyteller, as old as the tales he collected, continues his travels across Golarion and occasionally beyond. He knew that out there somewhere, there was one story he would never find. His own. No, I think because we couldn't find all the notes. That's sad. But I tried to look everywhere and yeah. Finian, a Pathfinder who also happened to be a talking weapon, continued his travels in the hands of many warriors, seasoned and otherwise. Throughout the following centuries, he was lost in battle on a number of occasions, only to be found again in some fantastical treasure room on the other side of Golarion. So much reading. Ascension enhanced Sila's power, but did not change her character. The irrepressible warrior is frequently seen in the company of good gods, from Caden Kalian to Chaldira to Zaristan. Rumor has it that Iomade herself often honors her with heart-to-heart conversations and joint training sessions. The goddess enjoys reminiscing about her mortal days. Most importantly, Sila never stops thinking or caring about the common folk in need of help. Not for a moment. That's a cool ending for her. And training with Iomade, I think, will be the biggest honor for her. Nan's ascension left him perplexed. Oh, true. Life expectancy. He had intended to die in the war against the demons, but instead was suddenly granted eternal life, and he had no idea what to do with it. After getting some advice from the commander, he made a to-do list: go on a sea voyage, learn to read and write well, and, of course, defeat a few hundred more demons, just for old time's sake. Nice. Ascension was a true challenge for Amber. For years she had rebuked the good gods for doing so little to help mortals, but now she finally understood the burden of divinity. Realizing that even her new powers were not enough to save all who suffered, she went to heaven, to her grandma, the Imperial Lord Enoletta, and asked to be her apprentice. She continued to visit the mortal world to aid the defenseless, to convince a villain to change their ways. Interesting, so her grandma, the old hag, is actually an Imperial Lord. Ascension opened up fascinating opportunities for Nenio. Now, she could discover if a High Priest of Iomade could convert Numerian barbarians if he happened to be teleported into their midst. He couldn't. Discover many women in Absalom screamed at the sight of a dead mouse on the pillow, approximately 34%. And see what two armies would do if all their weapons disappeared the night before the battle, and they would make peace. I imagine Nenio and Areelu to be like best research buddies. Oh boy. In his former life, Ulbrig had been both a man and a deity, but the Ascension shed new light on both sides of his nature. He traveled Golarion, fighting monsters and protecting the weak. He refused all prayers saying, "The Olex worship me, see how it ended for them," generously bestowed powers and advice on mortal heroes. No matter how busy they were, or what distances lay between them, Logan Aldori and Ulbrig would often spend time in the Garden of Gods, sometimes alone, sometimes in the company of friends, holding feasts that would amaze the Sicorian gods themselves. And the power of their love transformed the land they walked on. Following the return of griffins to Gundren, the outskirts of the former Worldwound blossomed with life, teeming with wondrous beasts and flowers. Oh gosh. And flowers thought long extinct. I think Logan and Ulbrig will have very nice and long life together. Well, immortal. They will have an awesome and cute future. Nerenarende, who had always despised piety in all forms, suddenly became an object of worship himself. Among followers of the rapidly growing church of the commander, the Count was the most popular associate of the new deity. He was the one most often pictured at the commander's side in religious paintings and reliefs. Possibly because artists found the handsome Azima to be the most appealing subject. As for Darren himself, he solemnly swore never to answer a single prayer, and it seems he duly kept his promise. So I guess he evaded the Inquisition. Although Jefto gladly accepted his semi-divine powers, since, as he told anyone who would listen, he deserved them. When he had to, he followed his chief everywhere, and when he had a spare minute, he descended to Golarion to steal whatever caught his eye, free a random tiefling from prison, or hide stolen property in one of his many stashes throughout Golarion. He had always been a follower of the goddess of vengeance and trickery. Some believe he has also formed an alliance of sort with the goddess of love. His intervention on Golarion is most commonly seen when prejustice or the law threatened to keep lovers apart. Oh, that's very cute. After the Ascension, Sosiel went to Nirvana to appear before Shaden in person, but he did not stay long. Just as when he was a mere mortal, the servant of the goddess of beauty could not enjoy the peace of her fragrant gardens when blood was still being spilled elsewhere. The soldier's angel, as he was his new moniker, would eagerly answer prayers and appear on the battlefield to heal the wounded or carry them to safety away from the front lines. Many warriors wore medallions engraved with his image for good luck. So many cool fates. Trevor did not dare appear before the goddess whose name he had betrayed. After the Ascension, the tormented fighter found peace in Elysium. He would not answer prayers, and he swore never to hold a weapon in his hands again unless Sosiel or the commander asked him to. wanted to say, I'm also very excited about Regil. Acquiring incredible power did not change Regil deranged in any way. It had already been working to a 500 years plan to the fight against chaos, smoothly switched to devising a plan to definitely solve the problem of the Abyss. Even devils respected his insidiousness. What does that mean? Regil, in turn, found the discipline in the ranks of the Hell to be somewhat lacking. Wow. Upon gaining semi-divine powers, Greyball lost interest in the assassin craft. There were too few opponents worthy of his skill. He became the patron of mortals who respected and honored the law of the street. The cult known as the Backstreet Wardens. Is that the Pathfinder version of the Backstreet Boys? As the Backstreet Wardens formed under his patronage and consisted of thieves, bandits, murderers, and other dregs of society, but they all shared an understanding, a code. On occasion, Graber himself enjoyed a nighttime stroll through the city in the guise of an ordinary mortal, just to remind the lowlifes that reputation carries more weight than coin. For the longest time, the ascended succubus could not bring herself to set foot in Elysium. She felt as though she would defile it with her presence. Or Rushale mustered the courage to appear before Desna only after the goddess sent her a prophetic dream. No one knows what the former demon discussed with the goddess, but after that meeting, Rushale would often descend to the material plane, where as an unseen angel, she would keep watch over mortals, helping those who had gone astray to find redemption. I would say this is really great ending for all characters. Yeah, Areelu. What's happening to you?
And what of me, the writer of these words? The half-demon witch known as the architect of the Worldwound.
White hair, very pale, black gown. Is that supposed to be Pharasma? The judge of, well, souls?
I gained more than I could have hoped. I achieved my purpose. I vanquished death. Untold might and all eternity lie ahead. How should I spend that eternity?
Oh, and she's not dead.
I have not yet decided. But I know, from experience, I know that every moment is priceless if it is spent with the one who matters most to you.
Just to spite Pharasma. Sounds very neutral. What Areelu's going to do.
I have recounted the story of my life for you, Pharasma, Lady of Graves. Not only of my life, but of the Commander's also. I believe the tale of such an illustrious figure would pique even a goddess's curiosity.
So she's basically showing off her son.
I have come here to say that he and I are no longer in your power. This is the last, most significant result of my transformation experiment.
Nice.
He is no longer within my power. This is true.
Such a
Divinity
nice portrait.
has given him the right to decide his own fate. But you entered my boneyard to bring me these tidings. And it is within my power to unmake you, destroy you, and erase you from the cosmos. I wonder, did he anticipate such an outcome? Did he purposefully choose you to be his emissary?
We're not going to let... I want to give Areelu, and I think also Logan would do that, the chance to atone and be redeemed. So Logan decides to intervene. You have no right to decide our fates, Pharasma.
I have relayed my message. Farewell, Lady of Graves. We will not meet again.
I wonder if otherwise Pharasma would kill her. Nice.
Their combined power has grown immensely, enough to almost rival my own. So be it.
Yeah. Oh. The end. Whoa. Happy ending. Yeah, definitely. It was amazing. It was such a blast. And oh my, I know sometimes it occurs about difficulty spikes or about the gameplay at points, but the story, it was so amazing. I love the characters, I loved all the quest lines, all the bits and pieces of Pathfinder lore you got to explore. The ending was amazing, and Areelu is one of the best villains in video games, I think, for me. Whoa! And as usual, it's very sad to see it end. And yeah, I know I will feel the post-great game ending void for a while. But yeah, it was amazing while it lasted, and it was such a great game to play. Thank you all for watching it, be it on Twitch, be it on YouTube. Thank everyone who, well, just tagged along. It was nice having you around, nice writing with you in the comments on YouTube and the chat on Twitch. It's amazing. You're an awesome community. Thanks, Friends of the Night. Special thanks to everyone who subscribed on Twitch or who's a member on YouTube. That really helps me out in doing all that, taking the time, and yeah, also doing the stuff for YouTube and cutting and editing and everything. So special thanks to you. Yeah, if you haven't already, it would be awesome if you'd follow me on YouTube. Well, no, if you would follow me on Twitch or subscribe on YouTube, and would be much appreciated. The same goes for all comments and likes on YouTube. Yeah, thanks a lot, and hopefully see you with the next games on Twitch or on YouTube, and hope to see you around. Love you, and great having you.